Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is the weekend stock market wrap-up. So today is Saturday, April 4th, 2015. We're going to take a look at the markets today on a weekly and monthly basis, look at some of our key ETFs, and then look at a review of trade ideas, looking at Apple, CBI, which is Chicago Bridge and Iron, LULU, Twitter, and Electronic Arts. Okay, so let's start off here with the Dow on a weekly basis. And you can see we've got this little wedge, which is forming on the daily basis also. And we've got now 2 weeks in a row below the 10-week exponential moving average. Okay, this last week was a little bit of a doji type bar, so kind of indecision. It closed almost where it opened, and up 50 points for the week though on the Dow. Again, this was 4-day week, shortened, and then we had the earnings, or the jobs report that came out on Friday, and it was a huge miss. You guys have probably already seen all that. Everybody was expecting 200 to 270,000 new jobs created, and it was like, I can't remember, 140 or 135, something like that. It was a very low number. And so, the futures were reacting to that very negatively on Friday. We'll see what happens after the markets has a chance to absorb everything and people look at everything come Sunday night into Monday morning. So right now, as of Friday, we had the futures down, so we'll see what kind of reaction we get here coming in on Monday morning. All right, now let's take a look at S&P 500. Same thing here on a weekly basis. We got this similar type wedge formation. And by the way, I mean, when I look at this on the Dow, I mean, I do think we are working a fifth intermediate wave up here, a fifth and final wave. And a lot of times that fifth wave will turn out to be an ending diagonal or a wedge that we call it. Okay, so we'll see if that's what we get in here. It could easily change and move into something else, as the market has a tendency to do. Now here's the NASDAQ, which is not closing below the 10-week moving average, just riding right above it. Now it's had a couple of down weeks, and it was down just 4 points for the week after all of that noise, but over a 2-week basis, it's down, quite a bit. About 140, 150 points over 2-week period. Okay, the New York Composite, very similar, I think, more to what we just saw on the Dow. The New York Composite was up 78 for the week, and a little bit of mixed. We kind of came down below the 10. Now we're back above the 10. 10 still above the 21, still above the 55 here. So everything's still just kind of tentatively riding. You would say it's almost kind of going sideways over the last several weeks. You see the way this has chopped. Now, the other interesting thing on this is look how the DI minus here on the directional movement has been above the DI plus since back in, when was that? That was right here, September 26th. So since September, the week ending September 26th, it has pretty much been in this negative tone, negative mode, even though it looks like, came down, popped back up. It's basically kind of gone sideways, but it's been with this negative tone of the DI minus totally above DI plus. So again, not a strong indication that it's going up. Here's the Russell 2000, a little different, a little more bullish. We are getting divergence here on the DI plus, but there's no divergence showing up on the RSI, at least over the last few weeks type of thing. Now we've pulled back up here again, like I talked about on Thursday, up to this trend line. Now this is on a weekly basis again. So that happened 2 weeks ago, and we've just stayed down from it. We'll look at the monthly here now. On the Dow, the monthly, again, we're just riding. We had this somewhat negative situation with the way it closed in January. I think he might have had some kind of reversal deal, kind of like what we had back over here at the top. And then we get this really strong move in February. And now we kind of get this pause action here with March. we're still showing negative divergence on the RSI and on DI plus and on the demand index. So we're still showing this bearish divergence with this last few months and everything here, last several months on the Dow Industrials. So it could be, it's just, momentum's continuing to push higher, but on weaker and weaker, framework. Same thing here on the Dow, on the S&P 500. Similar type thing. Not getting the confirmation of the price action. NASDAQ, again, a little bit more bullish, a little stronger move, but again, not getting confirmation on the indicators over the monthly basis over the last, 6 months or so. And let's see, the next one is the New York Composite on a monthly basis. And again, this just reinforces, we're riding above the blue line here. The lettering I've got here, the Elliott wave pattern, is what I think is coming out on a big, broader scale. I'm not going to go into that today. I do think this looks like a B wave here to me, like an A, B, of a huge corrective pattern, huge pattern. But on the Dow, not so much being a B. I think the wave 5 is topping on the Dow now, and that the New York Composite is just painting a little different picture. And the New York Composite's broader, so, it's kind of interesting with that. Russell 2000 on a monthly basis, and this will finish up our indices. And you can see, again, this trend line, I haven't touched this. This has been in here for quite a while now. And you can see it's just hugging. It's just hugging that trend line coming off that low, 2009 low. And, again, not really being confirmed by the indicators at all in terms of the move here of this move starting in December up. It's not being confirmed. Okay, let's jump in and take a look at some of our key ETFs. Let's start off here with the high yield bond fund. Okay, right here. Now here, this is just kind of look at it chopping sideways here, okay? And again, my comment on Thursday on the market is that it was, I thought it felt like it was coiling. Well, this kind of confirms a little bit of this sideways type of action that's going on. So again, if the market is pushing higher, like back up in here, you've got risk on and people assuming risk, and people are buying and getting into the high yield bond fund. When they're avoiding risk, this is going to be selling off as people are liquidating and getting out of the riskier type assets, and it seems to usually correlate with the market. All right, let's take a look at the treasury bonds, long-term treasury bonds. Now this pulled down here on Thursday, so indication of a slight blip up on interest rates, long-term interest rates. So the scenario I'm looking at here, this looks like like a first wave, and then do we have an A, B, and then are we working something like this? That's the question mark. That's what I'm wondering about right now. That would mean that this is kind of topped out. And so what's another scenario? Another scenario could be that we have got, an A, B, C corrective, and that this is a wave 1, 2, and working a wave 3. So there's a couple of ways to, look at it. And, all you can do is just say, okay, here's the scenario, here's a couple of scenarios. And usually you have a preferred and then you have an alternate. And then what you kind of go is say, okay, well, if the preferred scenario is to continue in play, then this needs to do X. So if this is going to continue down, it's got to take out this point right here, down here, and then take out here. Okay. If it's continuing in a bullish mode, then we need to take out this little high here and continuing to push to the high side. Now we could get a little more corrective action here and a pullback. So we'll just continue to watch and see how the bonds trade. But just kind of talking through some scenarios in terms of how I start to look at these things. The dollar, this actually has come back. It surprised me a little bit, but in a way, this didn't get deep enough probably. So now the way this is acting in this strong little pullback on the dollar, I'm expecting it to come back down to this this area right in here. It's because you got, you know, so much congestion, so that would imply that this would have a move down into like that, and then that would be an ABC, and that would complete the fourth intermediate wave down here. So now that's what I'm watching to see if that's what plays out. Okay, let's see the next one. Oh, I didn't get rid of this. Yeah, it won't let me. That's the quirky thing about that software I use when I use it, you know, interacting two different software, you know, using the marker software on here. It won't let me come back to my charting software and use the mouse unless I get rid of the markup. So that's why I have to do that. All right, let's take a look at the US dollar, or I mean the oil is what I meant to say, United States oil, United States 12-month oil. And so we got a little bit of sideways action down for the day on Thursday, but you know, just kind of sideways over the last week. Sideways to down, I guess I'd have to say. You know, after we broke down, pulled back to the consolidation, and now seem to be rolling back over. And then the next one we'll take a look at is gold. And, you know, gold's had just a little bit of a snapback up in here. Short term to the high side, the intermediates to the downside, the long term is to the downside. And again, I've talked about this before. I think right now we are in an intermediate wave 3. This could be a 1 working a 2 of some kind, and then the next would be a third minor wave of 3. So I do still think we're working a trend to the downside right now based on how this failed and has come back down. All right, let's take a look at two market sector ETFs, because I looked at semiconductors, home builders, and financials on Thursday night. So let's look at where is it? Okay, NASDAQ Biotechnology IBB ETF. Okay, so last 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here was a week ago Friday. A little blip up on Monday and pull back down for the rest of the week. We got a short-term cross in here on the moving averages. But again, we're still looking at the intermediate and long-term trend is to the high side. So a little bit of pullback, a little pause. We'll see whether it continues to make this move to the downside or not. Let's take a look at the indicators real quick. And it could be getting some support right in here at the, you know, on the RSI. You know, given that the RSI is right here at 40 or so, and a lot of times once you've gotten really overbought, and I've mentioned this before, they'll have a tendency to get support in the 40 to 45 range. So this could be gaining that support right now. Well, just continue to monitor it. And the last one here is the energy select sector. And again, this is kind of mirroring what we just looked at with US oil. You know, the short term has broken up, but this looks like pretty congestive type of trading, and you know, it's hard to tell what it's doing. It's just going sideways in here. You know, I did draw this little trend line as a potential consolidative type head and shoulders move for a continuation to the downside, but it hasn't broken down to continue that move yet. All right, now we're going to look at some of the trade ideas that we exited. 2 trade ideas we exited and 3 we're still in. And by the way, so we're going to start off with Apple. And then by the way, so for tomorrow, the only video I'll put out is if I see some new trade idea that I'm thinking about for Monday, Tuesday type of time frame. If I don't see anything, you won't see a video from me. So that's the way we're going to do it this weekend here. All right, so Apple we got in right in here on the 23rd, I think it was, yes, on the 23rd, and we got bought puts, thought this was going to continue a breakdown, started to go our way and was looking pretty good. Didn't get out of any, and then when we got this pullback here, the bid on it got right back to where we entered, and I said we're out, because after being up on the profit and didn't take it, I was not going to take a loss. So we basically got out at break even on Apple, And it's a little hard to tell what it's doing. I mean, it clearly it didn't want to break down in here, which could be a bullish and positive that it wants to turn and go up. But we also have this potential little triangular type of consolidation going on, and it could still break down through here. So the key is going to be in the next couple of days and just see which way it swings. And a little hard to tell right now, and we'll see how the market does on Monday. And the next one we're going to take a look at is Chicago Bridge and Iron. Okay, CBI was nice trade. We got in here, we was riding. Again, I thought we were going to kind of mirror a little bit of this move coming out of this breakout. I think the problem was this consolidation took a little too long. Now, we still may get continuation, but here's what happened. We got in, took a nice profit up in here as it pushed and paused, and I said, okay, I'm going to grab, we sold half. It got exited half of the position here, and then when it pulled back, and again the second half got to where our entry point was, took an exit on Friday. So out of CBI, nice profitable trade. And so now the three that we're still in, trade ideas, still open. Lululemon, and this is one again when this started to break through and break down here on this day, got in, and then we got this snap back after I think it was some earnings that came out, and didn't get stopped out because using a specific setup that I had for an exit, and it didn't pan out, even though we got this big whip here, and now it's rolled back over again, and it's still a chance. We're underwater on the position at this point, but I'm still holding, still thinking this could roll over, and we'll just let it play out, see what happens. The next one is Twitter. Similar type thing, got in on Twitter here with puts. Again, thought this was breaking down, started to go our way very nicely, and then we've just kind of chopped sideways over the next couple of days, and we're still in on these, down slightly, not nearly to the degree that we are on Lululemon, but we'll see whether or not this rolls over on Monday and breaks this trend line and snaps down. I'm really not looking for like some huge home run, big drop down to here. I mean, it would be nice if we just got back down into this area here. It'd be a very nice profitable trade based on what we've got. So, and again, the details for all of these trade ideas are on the Trade Ideas webpage. If you're not a subscriber, it's real easy to do. Just first name and email gives you access, and you'll be good to go. And you can enter. There's a button after the post, and a button on the home page there also gives you easy access to that. And then the last one we'll take a look at is Electronic Arts. Here we go. All right, Electronic Arts. Again, we were breaking out and thought we were making this nice move, expecting a little run, and then what does it do? It pulls back. Well, same thing back down here. It started to break out, and then it pulls back. And this pulled back, so what I'm expecting now is a continuation to the upside. Would love it if we give something like this for a couple of days. But right now, I'm still expecting the move to be to the upside, and we'll see how it reacts if the market's negative on Monday. And when you look at this on a weekly basis, this is kind of interesting because now what this does is just converts the daily to a weekly chart. It doesn't create a separate new thing, so sometimes the little markings and everything get a little distorted. But look at the type of candle that formed here, okay? That looks like a hanging man to me, but so did this right here, and then it blasted out. That was the last time we had a little bit of corrective action. And it's interesting that you could also say back down here was a similar type candle, and we got the positive move. So right now, I'm sticking with the scenario I'm seeing on the daily chart. Would love to get a 2-week move like this, and we'll see whether or not we can do that. I'm going to go back to the daily. And, a 2-week move like that would bring us to the top of the channel and up into here, and that would be nice. So that's what we're looking for. We'll see if we get it. All right, that's it for today. This has been the weekend update. It's been Joe for Beyond the Chart, and I appreciate you stopping by, checking in. And again, if you're watching this video anywhere else besides my website, head on over there, check out the posts. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Real easy to do, just like I said a few minutes ago. And so until next time, we'll see if I get a video tomorrow. If there is, I'll put one out if I see some ideas. If not, we'll talk to you on Monday night. So stay focused, follow your plan, trade without fear, and have a great weekend, everyone.